Here is a model of an atom, and we have to complete the table of particles, their names, relative charge, and their relative mass. We know that electrons orbit in shells or orbits around a central nucleus in atoms, and this is the nuclear model. The two types of particle that are in the nucleus are the proton and the neutron. Just to give you an idea of scale before we fill out the table, imagine that the atom was the size of a football stadium, and the electrons are buzzing around the outer stands, around here. Well, the nucleus would be so small that it would be a P on the center spot. And that nucleus would contain the protons and neutrons and 99.99% of the mass of the atom. So it's weird to think that you and I are 99.99% empty space, because the space between the nucleus and the outer electrons which are orbiting in the stands is just empty space. Mind-blowing. So let's answer the flashcard now. So A, first of all, those particles are electrons. There are two types of particle in the nucleus. For the sake of argument, let's call the red ones protons, and the grey ones here are neutrons. Now, relative mass and relative charge just means how do they compare relative to each other. Now, we start off by saying that protons have a relative mass of 1, and neutrons are about the same mass, so we say they have a relative mass of 1 as well. Relative charge, well, protons have got a relative charge of +1. Neutrons, well, they're neutral, that's from their name, so they are 0 charge, they are neutral. And electrons have a relative charge of -1, so they balance the protons. So here we can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 electrons, and in the nucleus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just in there 6 protons. So they must balance so that the atom is overall not charged. But what about the relative mass of electrons? Well, the relative mass of electrons is tiny. In fact, it's 1/2000th of the mass of a neutron, or 1/2000th of the mass of a proton. It is tiny. So most of the mass is in that nucleus at the center, and that nucleus is the size of a pea in a football stadium.